is currently in alpha.
Okay.
And we want to bring it to beta. We want to make it useful so people can build real-world applications with it.
So let's talk about this alpha versus beta. This is where we are right now. Wing is in alpha right now. It basically means that it's a very slippery slope. I mean, you have to work in a very single, I mean, this is what you're able to do right now. This is what's tested. The other things are probably not working, right?
That's very correct, yes.
So what is the beta kind of chasm? What's better?
So the gap, we identified the gap. We made sure that we understand exactly what we want to go. And we went through a thorough process of creating our language spec. You can see that on our website, on our docs website. You can see the language reference right here. And it's a full language spec that details everything that we are intending to build in order to make Wing useful for beta release.
Got it. So kind of the beta release for the language itself basically means this is something you can now use to build real-world application.
Exactly.
From the language perspective.
Exactly.
But that's not enough, right? It's not just the language perspective.
You're absolutely correct. We're also working these days on formalizing a spec for the SDK. So the SDK is being built as we speak, and we are very much welcoming your feedback. We have a pull request open for that, and you're welcome to dive in and to see some of the issues that we discussed there. This is how we actually know which way we should direct the language and the SDK in order to fulfill the use cases that are requested by the community.
Got it. So this is, and we talked about this a little bit last time with Elad. I mean, the SDK, this Bring Cloud thing, and then basically all the resources that the SDK provide. And the language itself, it's a common, I mean, for those who doesn't know, this is a kind of a general purpose language, which basically has a couple of features on top of it. So it's very familiar to all of us. I mean, the syntax is very familiar, but then it has the in-flight and the resources, which basically means kind of in-flight, this will be run somewhere else, on a Lambda function or something like that. And the other one is basically resources, something that exists outside of, I mean, even when my application is not running. It's on the cloud or something like that.
Exactly. Yeah. And another nice tool that we're building to complement that is the Wing console.
Got it. Okay.
Of course.
So the Wing console is a way to kind of visualize the simulator, the localhost simulator for the local host. Great. Yes. So we have the language SDK. We have the language spec, and we have the SDK spec GitHub issue. And how are you using this? How are we working basically in terms of project management?
Okay, so if you go to our repository, let's do, and we decided to use a recent feature released by GitHub, which I wholeheartedly recommend, called the projects. It's been released in the last 5 months, actually. And we have 3 different projects currently to communicate where we stand in the roadmap for Wing SDK and for the language. Let's take a look, for example, at the Wing language roadmap. And here we summarized all of the different issues that are currently part of the spec and which one are already done, and you folks are welcome to use them, which one we are currently working on, and which one we are still got to do. As you can see, by the numbers at least, we still got a lot of work to do before we are ready for beta.
So it's so you're using this project, but this is outside kind of. There's basically 3 parts of the way we kind of work. There's those long-term SDK specs, things that are those project boards. There's the kind of the continuously maintaining issues, bugs, processing them from the stream, I mean from us and from the community. And the last one is how we work in sprints. Right?
Right.
So this is the first thing. You're showing us those 3 boards, and we have the console boards also that is in the work. And then the next thing you're going to show us is basically how you kind of process information coming, right?
Exactly. What I was intending to show you now is our main project board. That's the Wing MVP board. What you can see here is that we work in sprints. That's not surprising, not super new in the industry. Before I talk about the sprints, I want to show you one of the views that we are using here. The other one, yeah. So whenever a community member or yourself or someone from our team reports a new issue, a bug, or they request for a feature, it lands in here in the needs triage view on that project board. And basically here we are able to see the different issues that we have here and provide we need to define the priority for these issues and decide basically one of three different next steps for them.
Got it.
If the issue is very urgent, we're going to add him to the current sprint and someone is going to pick it up right away and start working on it and add it to the language or the SDK, wherever it resides.
Yeah.
If the issue is a little less important, but still we want to have it ready for the community in the near term, then we put it into the near-term backlog. Okay. You can see it over here. And if it's something that we want to get back to at a later stage, that's going into the long-term backlog.
Got it. And so it's funny enough, we had this discussion today, about that P0 that we haven't marked as P0.
Yes.
So it's kind of weird how we what makes something important, not make something not important, because we're still in alpha. So we're very focused on basically allowing people to engage and onboard our project. So if there's some kind of bug in the examples, probably not the P0, you have to leave everything and fix it, but this is the high priority thing.
We would love to know about these issues first, and we take it very serious to tackle these issues as fast as we can.
Yeah,
yes,
because a lot of what the product is right now is a way to get people inside the communities. So if we have a problem in our onboarding, because an example is broken, we wanted to know about this and fix it as if we have an SLA problem.
Exactly.
Great.
Another great opportunity for the community to come forward and to help us by letting us know what's important is not only by reporting issues, you can actually upvote issues.
Got it.
And we have a nice view where you can see exactly that a lot of the folks here are actually craving for Win Console to be supported on Linux. So that's our top issues at the moment. A lot of folks actually also want Windows.
Yep.
So we hear you, and we're going to work on that in the upcoming sprints.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
And then the last thing to kind of complete the puzzle is the work that we kind of as product leadership. So we meet, a lot of us meet together, and we talk to the team, and we try to prioritize work from what we need for the better, right? And then we basically structure this by working with milestones and sprints. And can you share this a little bit?
Of course. So one thing I'll show first is the project board for current sprint. So you can see the different issues that we are currently working on. Our current sprint is sprint number 10. So you can see which ones are still in progress. A lot of them are in done because the sprint ends tomorrow.
Okay.
This specific sprint. We have the next sprint in line.
It was delayed.
Ready. Well, some of it.
Okay. It doesn't end tomorrow like by chance. It was supposed to end on Thursday.
Maybe the most important thing to say about the project management is that we are still figuring
this out. Okay.
Yeah. So we're still making it happen.
Yeah.
So the one thing that really helps us lead our project in the right direction is creating a story at the beginning of each sprint to actually tell the community or tell each interested party what we are actually building, what are we going to aim for. So I'm going to pick just a few examples to make it sense for our audience. One thing that is a very memorable story was the story we used for Sprint 4, when we had the Getting Started guide that some of you have already gone through, I'm hoping. And this is how we actually formalized what we want to see as the different steps of that process.
It was a beautiful story. I remember this. This is where Eyal basically set the bar. We're walking backwards. We believe, we're talking about sprints, we're talking about this is a lot of it is choreography. But we believe that you need a good story that gives the team a commitment, and I think that was a great story to kind of pick it up.
Absolutely.
I loved it.
Absolutely. The fact that he actually personalized the person that we are trying to work with. He created a persona called Mona Lisa, which is a 28-year-old programmer who works at a successful startup in San Francisco, takes a break, discovers Wing, and goes over the Getting Started guide and how she reacts to that. So that really helped. A few weeks later, when folks were actually trying that Getting Started guide, we already knew what they were about to go through. Yeah,
and this talks about our documentation, our compiler, our SDKs, the amount of code you can write, the console, basically tells that story, and then the team kind of focused on this. That's awesome, right?
Yeah. Another great story was just a few weeks ago when we were open Wing for alpha. and that's the story number 6, ready for contribution.
Yep.
All of the team really worked hard to make sure that we have enough tools, the chain of tools in order to support our community and to allow folks to join our Slack, to join our GitHub, have all the different tools in place.
Great. Eyal, do you mind? This doesn't work for me. Do you mind? I can see them. From some reason, I can see them.
Okay, so this brings me to the story that we are currently working on. Story number 10, but maybe before that, we'll tell story number 11 because, okay, one word of how we actually formalize these stories. Sometimes we set up a story that is too big for a sprint and the team's capacity is unable to complete it in one single sprint. So instead of trying to work super hard and not succeeding, we're taking this limitation and we turn it into a strength by narrowing down the size of the deliverable and providing something that is still super useful that takes us another step towards our goal of releasing the beta.
Yeah. So I kind of feel like it's there's value in having a demoable. I mean, a demoable celebration. There's always value in work, but there's value in having. Oh, we have some relevant questions. Where is it? So I'm looking at the live tweet. I'm seeing Mike, the man live. Nothing wrong with pop songs. Thanks, and some Schoolers 92. Woot Uri.
Woot Uri. Thank you so much.
So the question Mike has, Mike the man live, curious, why are user stories mixed into the RFCs? It's a good question. We started basically just by...
It happened. It just happened.
RFC for us is kind of... I'm requesting comments from you guys. This is what it is. I mean, and this is kind of... It's very simple. I'm putting this in a pull request. Give me feedback. So first of all, it's a natural place for our user stories to be. Maybe we're going to change their folder structure sometime in the future. Any suggestions are welcome to make everything more readable. Maybe we should have it. But it's still, when I'm doing a user story, I'm requesting feedback, whoever is writing it. I'm requesting feedback from the team and the community. That's the idea. So the story of user story 10 is basically that we started from user story 11, which I can't find right now. So let me go back.
Here, there it is. It is. Here.
Oh, this is, it was, oh my God, we're delaying. My God, okay.
It's okay.
Yeah. So basically...
First, I'll give just a short introduction. This guy here is not just a talk show host. I mean, he also has a small side gig that he, how many hours a day? Like half an hour or something like that?
Yeah, it's a side gig. I'm also running the pod.
You're committed to the show, but besides the show, you also have a job as a chief product officer in Monada, the company that creates Wing.
Yeah, and it's a dream. it's a dream job.
Okay.
It's a dream job. It's, I mean, when I heard about the idea, I told my wife, this feels like something, like a one-time train. I want to jump on the train, and we all know this is a journey. I mean, the chances, but for me, it's an incredible place to be. Writing a language is crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. So user story number 8 basically is a task list. We're basically creating a to-do app. And it's going to be evolving over time. So once we have API gateway, it's going to be with an API gateway. Once we have connection to IAM, it's going to be identity-led. It starts with the database as an S3 bucket. It's going to evolve into the DynamoDB, Redis, MongoDB, whatever resource we'll define at the moment. And we started with this user story, the task list resource, which basically kind of it's a to-do list. It was a competition between me and ChatGPT. I think ChatGPT won, but
man against the machine.
Yeah, but I still wrote my own. And basically, we said let's focus on the compiler. We want to make sure that we jump forward with the compiler. We want to invest a lot of the company resource on the compiler. And of course, there's also the console here, but the bulk of the team was working on the compiler. And we said, oh, great, let's do this in 2 weeks. I mean, can you do this in 2 weeks, Umesh?
We put our finest on it.
Yes. Yeah. And we quickly figured out that there was also holidays. It's not going to fit in 2 weeks. I said, so, okay, let's find another story.
They're gonna have to work on the holiday. That's what you told me.
Yes. Yes. There's no so we said, let's go. Let's. So this one has we have a resource here that's called the task list, and that resource I thought might have infinite function. That I mean. Probably, and you all think, well, in-flight function on a resource, that's too much.
That calls for a refactoring.
That calls for a refactoring. You didn't tell me I'm going to have in-flight function.
In-flight and wing.
You want this to use this?
Way.
I mean, so there's a lot of things that we have to do. So we kind of, I think it was a struggle. We're not religious about this. It doesn't have to do every 2 weeks. I need the story too much. I'm not going to chase my, but we kind of figure out after 2 weeks of work, we figure out where the team is going to converge in a good place. I said, okay, let's put a story on like this. And this is basically kind of a resource-less task list. And that's what I'm going to show you. I want to show you what your team has been doing, what our team has been doing. So are you able to see my screen? So it's going to be a little kind of replay of what we've done with Eyal. But I'm going to start with Brain Cloud.
Yes.
So I'm going to write a to-do app. It's going to have an S3 bucket as the storage and a counter as the kind of the identifier. I'm not going to run the entire code, but I'm going to start just let
to give us the feeling a little bit.
Yeah. New cloud bucket.
Okay.
Great. Let counter.
So you're going to create a counter. Yeah. Cool. That's.
Okay, so now I've created a bucket and a counter. I have done new. That's what I've done. I've used the SDK, the clouds are basically our Wing SDK. And again, this code is going to have, I mean, this actual code is basically pre-flight code, which basically is going to compile into, in this specific account, it's going to compile into a provisioning service. We can use the playground for that probably. You want to show this?
Oh yeah, right? Sure.
Yeah, so let's show this.
Nice.
Playground. Here it is.
Awesome.
Okay, great. So what's going on? Can you explain what's going on here, man?
So on the left side, we're going to see the code that Eyal just wrote. And on the right side, that's our compiler compiling that into JavaScript. So you can see the code here, for example.
Okay, and that's specific JavaScript. What's the synth for people who doesn't come from the CDK, right? I mean, so yeah.
So basically, the first phase is the pre-flight, is turning the code that we have over here, the resources that are SDK resources, and provisioning them on the provisioning engine.
Basically. Yeah, basically kind of outputting the provisioning manifest or the YAML files for the. Okay, awesome, great. So this is a nice tool. I know you love it. So I have a bucket and a counter, and I'm going to create a new function. I'm going to let add task. That's going to be the function. Okay, so and I'm going to do, it's going to be a new cloud function. Now this I wanted, in the beginning I want this to be as part of the resource, but we're going to do this kind of old style, not object-oriented.
Right, so it's basically a function that allows you to add tasks. Obviously, we're going to add these tasks into the bucket. That's our storage in this case.
Yeah. And I'm going to do the as here because I'm going to have a bunch of functions and I want the kind of the provision engine to have the right resource name for those things, right? Awesome. So I'm going to do add task.
Good idea.
Great. And now I'm going to do, it's probably, I should get a title. And now I'm going to do, and now I'm going to do, let's do, let value equal counter dot inc. Now I get the previous value before the increment. I got that value right now. And now I'm going to do print about to enter to save to add task with title.
Nice.
Are you checking me?
Yeah, that works.
Okay, let's do this.
That works awesome.
With ID. Is it good?
I think so.
Okay, so if not,
we'll find out soon enough.
And this like a good kind of this is going to return the value in a string.
Awesome.
Oh.
Almost.
Damn it. Okay.
Yes.
Great. So this is the add task, and let's wing it. Let's wing this
Let's
thing.
wing it.
No.
Let's
Wing it. Sprint 10. And now our console launches.
Oh, so there is a compiler.
Do you know what it is? Do you know what it is? Wing compile target sim sprint 10. Unknown symbol ID. Okay. Value. Yeah.
Nice.
Value ID.
Nice.
How didn't you catch this? Guys, you're walking there. How didn't you catch this?
The control room. Well, they're drinking.
Okay. So let's wing it.
Now it compiles well.
Let's wing it. Okay, great. So we have a bunch of stuff here, and it's as we mentioned before, we have to clean this, but very, very kind of easily. I've created an add task. I'm not going to run it right now. I'm going to create a test for it. So that's the second thing I'm going to do. I'm going to have a test section, and I'm going to check that it works. There's not a lot to check, but I'm going to do a new cloud.
Another cloud function.
Yep, cloud function. That's going to be the test one.
Nice.
As test add task, and like this, and then I'm going to do an in-flight str. Wait, and now I'm going to do that add task. Let's do this. Let's slow this thing. And now I'm going to do add task, invoke.
Okay, so you invoke the function that you created before from here.
Yeah. What do you want to do? What do you want to do? What's your first task? This is the first task. Okay, first task. Okay.
Let's build Wing Beta and release it.
Okay, launch Wing Beta. You want to do another one? You want to do another one?
I do.
Yeah. Okay. So let's do complete Wing Beta release.
Okay.
That's gonna be a nice day. Okay. So I'm going back here, and now I have another function, add task. Nice.
So wait, it
automatically. Yeah, automatically.
I mean, amazing.
This is all about the flow. We want to bring people back to flow.
Nice job, Wing console team.
And I'm going to give it no payload. I'm going to run it. I'm going to go to the cloud bucket. I mean,
it succeeded first.
Yes, right. And there's also kind of about the titles. There's logs, and I can go to the cloud bucket. Nice save.
Bucket. Okay. Nice one.
Bucket dot put.
That's a nasty bug.
No, I mean, where are you?
Well, we wanted to give some, to make it more interesting.
Okay.
To see that the audience is listening. I'm sure we have a lot of live tweets about it.
You know why I have to do IDSTR here, Uri? Do you know why I have to do it?
We heard there's currently a limitation.
A limitation, okay. Not a bug, a limitation. Okay.
Well, a limitation that we are happily living with.
Okay. So I can't call the counter.inc inside the string interpolation right now.
For now.
But it's a P1, maybe it's a P0. We just talked about
not
it's
P0.
not a P1. It's a P1.
If it was a P0, I wouldn't be standing here.
Where would you be standing?
Somewhere dark coding.
In the corner.
Coding.
No, if it's a P1, we're standing. Who needs to stand in the corner? Great. Okay, maybe it's gonna work now. Any other suggestions from the crowd?
It's gonna work.
Is it gonna work?
It's gonna work.
Okay. Send. Okay.
It succeeded.
Yeah, I succeeded before also.
Yeah.
Okay. So we got 0 and 1. It's working.
You got 0 and 1.
We got 0 and 1. Yeah.
That's not P0, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's gonna be. We got this and complete Wing Beta release.
Yes. Nice.
So kind of a decade. Let's move forward a decade in time, and let's jump to this app, which is basically the same thing. That does the add task, the get task, the delete task, and the find task. Let's take a look at this code right now. This is all kind of new release today code, available by Mark.
Freshly written.
Freshly written. So we have a bucket list returns a list of strings, a list of IDs, and then the file names, and then we can get the task content. We found it. We can compare stuff. Oh my God, we can do an if statement to compare stuff. It's actually a software.
It is a language.
Yeah, of course, but there's no async calls. That's what you're saying. So this is a good example. So this is An async function. This is good. This is an async function. But we're developing in the cloud. So what isn't an ASIC function? This is the idea is
everything, almost everything.
I mean, you have to, I mean, the language has to be written for an ASIC world.
This is the more common case. We have to know that the rare case is where we don't want async calls.
Yeah, maybe the common case will also if it's not going to call async. That's another. So they have.
You can't have it all.
Yeah, I can't have it all. And we don't have so I have to do like return not found. But these are the tests.
Oh, we do have throw.
Oh, we do have throws.
We do have throw. That's recently added by the mighty SEP.
Okay, and SEP also added asserts. So we have asserts in the language. So all our tests basically have an assert. And if we look at this test, which is called find task by content, it's basically print test find. It takes the value. It enters a lot of more items, but it has to be. So
it adds a few tasks.
Yes. And then basically it find the task by this name. He wants to find this task, and then he found the task with ID expected value. I mean. Does it work? And then we're gonna let's.
And it asserts that. So if it's not gonna equal the expected idea, then it's gonna crash.
It's gonna fail.
Miserably.
We're gonna show it. We're gonna show it. I think. Now, will it compile?
Compiler error.
Yeah, I don't. Let's do this for a second. Okay.
Whoa.
Okay, so we have a lot of things here. This is not optimized. No, I mean, not ready for. But it's about to be. It's part of the work that we're doing for beta. And now let's start with adding task. Not because that's what I want to do, because that's what I tested before. So we have a task.
Works.
We have success true and we have response and we can, I want to use the test add task. So I'm going to add those things and then I success true. And then we have the find task by content. And as we can see here, maybe we can see here that found task with ID expected 15 and the function call succeeded. If we go to the bucket, we have a lot of tasks here. And then we can go to the delete all tasks, which is basically this thing. Delete all task goes over the bucket list and delete all the tasks.
Nice.
And then if you want this thing, we go send. It's basically deleted all the tasks. And if we go back to the bucket, it's empty. So and this is working. So
nice,
great job,
nice man,
great job to the team.
And we're gonna have this example available, right? So folks can actually take it and try it and play with it a little bit. So that's available on our RFC folder. We're gonna send the link on Slack on general.
Got it. Awesome. So again, thanks for the team. This was an amazing job.
Yes.
And
thank you so much for the team.
Great. Uri, thank you for being here.